Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And we appreciate you guys so much. We really do. Okay, so let's say hello to a few folks here. And who's number one on the hit parade? Mike from Norland. Good morning to you. Sandra from Aurelia. Good morning. Brahim from Portland, Oregon. Drinking coffee. Me too. Me too. Judy and Mary and Rosa from Montreal. And Laurie and Ryan. Good morning from Sarasota, Florida. Adeline. Paul. Edmonton. Good morning. Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. Nellie. Good morning. And Micheline, bonjour. Jeanette from our staff, good morning. And Wendy Markham, good morning to you. Chantal, Ottawa, good morning. Yvonne, Petawawa. Wanda from Virginia. Serpa, good morning from Dowling. Donna, Park Hill. Daphne, good morning. Nick from our staff. Jeanette, bonjour. Marla, Ottawa. Andrea, and from Nouveau-Brunswick. Anne, St. Catharines, good morning. Denise. And John from Elgin, Illinois. And Fran from Valcarron. Jackie, Belle-Île. And Frida, good morning. Francis, good morning from Vaughan. I just missed someone there. Thea. And Catherine, Newfoundland. Marzana, how are you? Stephanie, Macon, Georgia. Ron, good morning. Jeanette. Elaine, good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, Vince, how is you? We appreciate you guys so much. Mara, Gertie, good morning from Burlington. Francis Marie, Sue, Manitoulin Island. Linda, good morning. Lorraine, British Columbia. Faye, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for coming on. Denise, Mo, oh, you guys are great. Teresa, Mississauga. Two more. Susan. And one more. Cheryl. How are you? You're loud. I gotta say good morning to you. We appreciate you so much. Okay. I'm just gonna do a little follow-up here on an article that came out yesterday. I got to talk about it because, again, okay, the biggest topic, the narrative is climate change, okay? But the elephant in the room is chronic disease, okay? So we've talked about that a lot of times, but yesterday, an article coming out of the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, says this. And guys, it won't surprise you. It doesn't surprise me because we know the truth and the truth will set you free. But listen to this. Nearly half of all Americans have a chronic disease. Half. 50%. Okay? What's worse, listen to this. What's worse in this sense, more than 40% of kids and adolescents currently have one chronic disease according to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. Isn't that in Atlanta? The CDC and our folks from Atlanta are Macon, Georgia this morning. Okay, so here's what the CDC said. Half of Americans have a chronic disease. The cost of that, okay, is incredible. Listen to this. Currently, the American healthcare system, which is a disease care system, just like it is in Canada. And I'm not optimistic that that will ever change. Individuals have to take care of themselves, because if they don't, the government's not going to do it for you. What they're going to do is they're going to spend money in the United States, the government or the insurance programs. At the end of the day, everybody pays. Okay, in Canada, we have what we call universal health care, meaning that it doesn't directly come out of your pocket, but it does. I mean, it's got to be paid for. And I'm not comparing the systems, the American system versus the Canadian system. Okay? All I know is we're going down the wrong path because we're not preventing disease. We're allowing, imagine half the American population, half, have a chronic disease. Listen to this. The nation's 4.1 trillion. Okay, what is that? Okay, we talk about trillions. When I was a kid, okay, when I was a kid, we talked about millionaires. To ever meet a millionaire, okay, you got to understand, in 1950s, a millionaire. And then it became billions, okay? And people had a hard time wrapping their head around $1 billion, okay? $1 billion. What? Yeah, well, $1 billion. And now we throw around, in Canada and the United, like Canada last year, I believe, or maybe the year before, we hit $1 trillion of debt. Yeah. And nobody loses any sleep over it. In the United States, it's what, 30-something trillion dollars in debt. What's a trillion? So I had to figure it out because, okay, what's that mean? In the United States, okay, there's 340 million people. 330 or 340. Well, you know what $1 trillion is? For every person, okay, for 1 trillion, that, and 340 million people, that's $8,000 each. $8,000 each. They got, and that's 1 trillion. They're at 4.1 trillion for their healthcare budget. Guys, that's crazy. That's crazy. How much it's costing. And, okay, I want to finish the article. I think it's important. 90% of the 4.1 trillion, according to the CDC, is spent on chronic disease. You know how much is spent on prevention? Pennies, comparatively. Okay, for diabetes alone. Okay, let's say you're a diabetic. I'll talk to people till they're blue in the face about diabetes is the last thing that happens. You know, when you get the official diagnosis, somebody talked to me yesterday. Oh, by the way, doc, I'm a diabetic. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You've been a diabetic for a long time. We're going to do a session on that, okay? We are. Because let me just go off and I'll come back. You know when you got dry skin? Okay, you could have eczema, psoriasis, or whatever. But let's just say around your elbows, dry skin, and your feet dry, and you got dry, flaky skin under your feet and whatever. Here's the way I think, okay? It's diabetes without diabetes. What do I mean by that? Well, diabetes is the last thing that happens. Blood sugar out of control, which is diabetes, is a lagging indicator. That's the last thing that happens because your body would rather have fatty liver. It would rather have dry skin. It would rather have skin tags. It would rather have anything than you become officially a diabetic where your blood sugar is out of control. Okay? That's how your body operates. Your body is so smart. It knows it can't leave sugar in the bloodstream. Sugar is toxic. And everybody, a little bit of moderation. Moderation, Dr. Martin, it's good for you. Brought to you by the food companies and the big pharma companies. Okay? The CDC is screaming. The CDC is screaming. Oh, why did I say that about dry skin? I go down a rabbit trail and I forget to finish the point. Your body would rather be dehydrated than allow sugar to stay in your blood. You know how? What is the number one way your body gets rid of sugar out of your bloodstream? Okay? Quiz. I don't know if I can even see the scrolls. But I know my audience, smart. What is the number one way your body gets rid of sugar in the bloodstream? Okay, Gertie says urine. Yeah, that's where it goes. But what takes it out of there? Insulin. Brenda, yes, insulin. Okay? You guys know that. It's insulin. It's the traffic cop. Come here. And yeah, it parks it in the liver, you guys. Soup, water, insulin. Okay, you guys know what it is. Okay, the number one thing that works to take sugar out of your bloodstream is insulin, right? From your pancreas. It goes, hey you, sugar, you can't park in the bloodstream, come here. Right? It's the traffic cop. But your body will steal water. It's one of the ways of getting rid of sugar. In those blood vessels, you got 60,000 miles, of blood vessels in your body. 1.5 times around the equator. When there's extra sugar, insulin, come here, plus water. Why do you think a diabetic is so thirsty all the time? And you guys are right, by the way. Gertie, you're right. One of the ways your body will get rid of sugar is through the urine. It'll produce more water. Your body would rather be dehydrated than allow sugar to be in your bloodstream. Okay? You learn, can I just say this? You learn this in your first day at medical school. You learn about diabetes. Well, they better. And they learn, polyphagia, polyuria. Okay? You're hungry. You're thirsty. You're urinating too much. Those are early signs, polydipsia, early signs that you are headed towards diabetes or you're already a diabetic. But listen to me. Listen to me, folks. Diabetes is a long-term problem. By the time you get the diagnosis of diabetes, your body has been screaming. Your body's trying to tell you, would you stop eating sugar and carbohydrates? Please, your body's screaming. It'll even dehydrate you. It's your body's safety mechanism. Sugar is so destructive in your bloodstream, so destructive. Your body does everything. Okay? Everything to get rid of that. You got the memo? Got it? My audience, you know that. The world out there, nah, they don't get it. It's amazing to me. When you learn this stuff in your first day of medical school, I'm telling you, you're not even a month into medical school, you understand the signs of diabetes. But you got to get it earlier than that. You're a diabetic way before. Okay, now. Okay, so let's look at this, okay? So, annual per patient, okay? So the CDC, same article. Annual cost for a diabetic patient, okay? The annual cost of a diabetic patient totally is $189 billion in the United States. And that is $6,000, okay? Average per patient. That's what it costs. Imagine. Guys, this is why I scream, okay, about, I really get upset at the government. I get upset at politicians. I get upset at people who don't know what they're talking about. And listen to this. By the year 2030, okay, by the year 2030, I think I wrote this down. By the year 2030, more than half, over 170 million Americans, this is just American statistics, by the year 2030, you know what climatologists are telling us? They're not, you know what I mean? It drives me crazy. The world's going to end by 2030 unless we, get rid of cows. Well, I get a headache. Unless we start eating crickets. Unless we start, they start with, let's use electric cars. Okay? But that's not enough. Then they tell you, we really got to get rid of meat. And then Al Gore said it, I think yesterday or the day before. You know what Al Gore said? We really got to get rid of food. We got to get rid of the farmer if we're serious. And so they don't want any fertilizer. And guys, it takes my breath away that even someone supposedly smart like Al Gore, let's get rid of the farmer. And we're getting taxed to death. I get angry about it because we're missing the key. The key isn't the climate. The key is chronic disease. And can I take it a step further? Can I take it a step further? The farmer is actually the medicine that we need to get rid of chronic disease. The farmer's the answer. He's not the problem. He's the answer. He, she. Okay? The farmer is the answer to us. Not the problem. It's the cure. Where are you going to hear that? You think Big Food's going to tell you that? There's no money in produce for them. There's no money in meat for them. The money is in the middle aisles of the grocery store. That's where all the money is. 33,000 items on average in your grocery store. And the vast majority from the things that they sell you to drink, besides coffee, whoever thought that you would buy water? Okay. But guys, the answer is the farmer. The farmer has the answer to chronic disease. You think the CDC said that? No, they didn't tell you that. They just told you the bad news. That's really bad news. And what the CDC is saying, okay, they didn't say it without saying, but if half the population has chronic disease, and by the year 2030, that's only 7 years away. Even less. The CDC is saying, look, guys, here's my quote, okay? I like old sayings, okay? My grandchildren always get a kick on me. Grandpa, where'd you get that saying? Where did you get the saying, all the tea in China? I don't know if it's just my age. I live on sayings. All the tea in China ain't going to pay. So the world is getting duped about the climate. They're duped about it. The climate isn't going to kill us. Here's what I say. When they start growing in Sudbury, okay, where I live, okay, North Pole, Santa Claus, come a little south, Sudbury, okay? And before that, Timmins, okay? I always tell people when I do a seminar, where do you live, Doc? I live in Northern Ontario, okay? Santa Claus, me, okay? I'm just a little south of Santa Claus. And if you don't believe that, you come and live in Sudbury in the wintertime. Okay? Yeah. Every winter, you know what? It's winter. And I want to squeeze my Florida friends. Okay? I want to squeeze them to get their attention. Because they're scared of the sun, and they get it 300 and something days a year. And I say, well, in Sudbury, we don't get no vitamin D starting in September, all the way through May. You just don't get it. You know, you might get a sunny day, but it's 40 below. And to be political, I said this years ago, by the way, so you guys can say I'm controversial. I don't care. I mean it. Electric vehicles won't work in Sudbury, okay? In the winter. How far do you think you're going to go down the block when it's 40 below? Okay. That's enough of me getting uptight. Okay. Oh, guys, you got to understand. I don't buy it. Here's what I buy. We're in deep doo-doo in North America. Deep doo-doo. Because we're missing the elephant in the room. And nobody, and I mean very few, have the courage to say it. The problem with chronic disease, okay, not only the cost of it, what it's doing to our society, it's being caused primarily by what we eat. What can I tell you? It's caused primarily by what we eat. Why do you think I'm so passionate? Well, let me give you something else, okay? Let me give you something else. Where did I write this? Here it is, okay? The National Center for Health Sciences. The National Center for Health Sciences, the NHS, they came up with this, okay? They came up with this. In 2022, body measurements, follow with me for a second. The average male weighed 199.8 pounds. The average male, 200 pounds. The average female, 170 pounds. We've gotten bigger. We're not shrinking, we got bigger. Okay? I always tell people, watch an old movie. Watch a movie in the 50s. Okay? They made some good movies, you know. 60s. Even the 70s. Watch an old movie and you will see people are tiny compared to today, right? What happened? Listen to the waist circumference. This is really important when it comes to metabolic syndrome. It's one of the key factors. Listen to this. The average waist, okay, not W-A-S-T-E. I'm not talking about that waist. Okay? The average W-A-I-S-T, your waist circumference, because it's a huge indicator of metabolic syndrome. Listen, listen, listen. The average is 40.5 for a man. That's metabolic syndrome. That's the average in the United States. And for women, you know what the waist average is in the United States? From the National Center for Health Sciences, the NHS, 2022 statistic. You know what the average for women is? 38.7. The waist circumference. Houston, we got a problem. We got a problem. And that stuff gets buried. If we don't even read newspapers anymore, but if we did, it would be buried in the last pages. It'd be put near the comics. Remember reading newspapers? Hey, that's how I learned to read. You know, I used to love reading newspapers. You gave me a sports section, I'd read the whole thing. Okay? I used to eat up reading, but newspapers. I guess that's why I was always so interested in history and news and political science and stuff like that, and sports. I had sports coming up both my ears. Okay? So, guys, all I'm telling you, okay, the important thing here, okay, is we're in deep trouble. And I'm aiming at you my audience, I'm aiming directly to you, give you information so that you can, you know what, guys? I love going behind the scenes. You know, we talked yesterday about autism. I go behind the scenes, okay? Here we have a condition. When I was in school, I honestly never even heard about it. And today it's like an epidemic, 1 out of 22 kids. I go, okay, why? Why? And here we are. Why are we talking about the climate when we ought to be talking about chronic disease? Why? I'm giving you my opinion, and I'm very opinionated. And you know what? I did take Dale Carnegie. Some of my grandchildren, Grandpa, who's Dale Carnegie? I said, well, how to win friends and influence people. Okay. And Dale Carnegie would probably tell me, if he was still alive, Tony, tone it down. You're turning some people off. You know what? It's the elephant in the room. I can't help myself. Okay, guys. The Martin Clinic made a big announcement today. We got oil of oregano. We got our own. I'll tell you, we tested the best, the best, the best. I love oil of oregano. I mean it. You guys know that. It's the greatest natural antibiotic there is. There's nothing better than oil of oregano. There's nothing better as an antiviral, natural. Antifungal. Imagine getting those three. I mean, it's an antioxidant, does a lot of other things. But I always used to tell my radio audience for years and years and years and years. They call and say, well, Doc, what about this? What about that? What about this? And what about that? I said, well, oil of oregano, oil of oregano, oil of oregano. Is that all you ever talk about, Doc? Yeah. I said, I tried everything else. There's no antifungal. There's no antibacterial. There's no antiviral like it. So I always talked about it. You know, and I don't think I ever wrote a book that I didn't put, you know, almost a whole chapter about oil of oregano. And all the books I've written, what am I at now, 23, 24? You know, I always talk about oil of oregano. I said, well, you know what? God gave us a gift. Oil of oregano. Okay? Don't leave home without it. Remember that old American Express commercial? Don't leave home without it. I tell people, don't leave home without it. I travel with it. Okay? You can brush your teeth with it. And this is key. Okay? I just want to give you one more statement about it because this is really, 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 really important about it. Do you know that oil of oregano will only kill the bad guys? It don't kill your good guys. See, a natural, God-given antibiotic, antiviral, it don't kill your good guys. It only kills the bad guys. Yep, that's the truth. I know sometimes at a health, you know what, don't take it, don't take it forever, oil of oregano, because it's going to kill your bad guy. It's an antibiotic. But they compare it to, an antibiotic prescription. It's not the same. It don't kill your good guys. Okay? That's important. Okay. You know what tomorrow is? It's question and answer Friday. Okay? It's question and answer Friday, so get your questions in. We love question and answer Friday. Okay? Guys, I got my workout today. I got uptight. My cortisol went up. Because I read articles from the CDC and the NHS, and my head spins. My head spins. Talk to you soon. Oh, we do love you, by the way.